Hey guys, it's Chris. I'm at ASU, about to do another weekly recap. Sam's not here again today, but we're going to share some good info with you guys. Let's start off with some NBA injuries. This season's kind of been plagued with injuries throughout the league. A couple that came up today. The Lakers' Xavier Henry ruptures his Achilles. And he's going to miss the rest of the year. That's the same injury that Kobe Bryant had. That's not going to be good for their squad because they need all the players they can get at this point. Another injury that happened was Taj Gibson. If you saw that really brutal inside sprain ankle, those are the worst sprains by far, and he should be out at least a month because they take a lot of time to rehab. Another injury to the Pelicans' Eric Gordon was against the Utah Jazz. Alec Burks collided with him on a screen, and he tore his labrum, and that is going to be a pretty lengthy injury. It's really too bad. Eric Gordon's been plagued in his career by injuries. Um, when he's healthy, he can score the ball. He got that max contract out of his rookie deal. He's somebody that they needed to go forward to make this playoff run. Now, I'm not sure. Anthony Davis is great, but we'll see. Also, the Wolves, Kevin Martin, he fractured his wrist, and I'm not sure if that's a shooting wrist, but that's just another injury. This Wolves team's been decimated by injuries. Just to start, Ricky Rubio spraining his ankle as well. So that's really unfortunate. I had the Timberwolves being better than last year, and that was going to be with all their players healthy. Now, I don't really see it happening. Wiggins is playing great. I think in my opinion, he's playing better than all the rookies right now. But with these injuries, they're not going to go very far. Let's move on. The Cavs, they're struggling. ESPN's front page has LeBron like this and saying, "I'm not doing my job." There's some like 5-7. I honestly think it's pretty funny. Cavs have this team of such talent, and they can't put it together early. Look for LeBron to really take hold of this team. Kevin Love can't play defense. He's shooting it like 38, 39%. Maybe this is why the Timberwolves never made it to the playoffs with Kevin Love. If you can't play D, it's going to cause a lot of problems. I'm honestly, you can maybe put the argument that Kevin Love is a downgrade from Chris Bosh, definitely at the defensive end. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. Moving on, we have the Knicks Calderon. Jose Calderon's going to make his debut. That's a big upgrade at the point guard from the point guards they were playing. They were playing that Miami guard, Shane Larkin. He's young. He's very small, athletic, but Calderon is a proven vet in this league. He can shoot the three ball. He can make great passes. So maybe this will get the Knicks, out of their little slump. This triangle offense is very difficult to run, and they're not doing a good job doing it. So look for the Knicks to maybe improve with Calderon back. What else can we talk about? So it looks like Thaddeus Young, he's going to return to the Wolves. I thought he was hurt because he was playing really great before his absence. But that's good for the Wolves that he's going to come back and play strong. What else can we do? ESPN's Kevin Pelton has been talking about how the Thunder have been playing the zone defense more than any team in recent memory in the NBA. With all their holes and their missing players, maybe they found something that this zone defense can really throw off opponents. Because in the NBA, you don't really see it because NBA teams can shoot out of the zone. But they're going to try these different schemes, and perhaps this is working for them, and they can use this till they can get their Durants and Westbrooks back. I honestly think it's pretty interesting because you don't really see teams use the zone too often. Maybe out of a timeout on a, they anticipate a certain type of play coming out of a timeout, and they throw a zone defense just to confuse the opponent because their play was predicated on a man-to-man defense. But using it for an extensive period of time in the NBA is kind of unheard of, honestly, at this point. Let's take a look at the power rankings. I think that would be kind of interesting. So here are your top 5 teams. You have the Golden State Warriors, number 1 at 10-2. Then you have the Memphis Grizzlies at 12-2 as the second team. Toronto 11-2, and San Antonio 9-4, and Portland at 10-3. So surprises here would be Toronto, Memphis, and Portland. These 3 teams, coming into the season, I didn't expect to, be in this top 5 echelon of teams. Memphis, I didn't really think they improved, but Vince Carter's playing great. Marc Gasol, I see him on highlights every single recap. He's taking to the rim and going and dunking it. And of course, he has a set shot, but it has great form, good arc. And centers, just don't want to get out of the paint and guard, this 18-footer, which he did to DeAndre Jordan the other night. And I was like, wow. I mean, like, DeAndre wants to stay in the paint, and Gasol will just, shoot this jumper, and, he'll switch it every time if you're not going to go out and guard him. Toronto is playing great. Kyle Lowry, you have DeRozan, Lou Williams was player of the week in the East. They have a great squad. You have Jonas Valanciunas. And, ever since this Rudy Gay trade, that's what ESPN is saying, that Toronto has had the East best record at 52-24. So once again, you see a team improving after trading Rudy Gay. You saw this in Memphis. It's unfortunate for Rudy Gay, but it just speaks to the inefficient play that the teams were playing when they had Rudy Gay, and now that they traded him and got away from some high volume offensive player, and they can distribute the ball and be more efficient on offense. You really see an improvement in these teams. I think I forgot to talk about Golden State, but Steve Kerr is doing a tremendous job. He has a team playing great. Klay Thompson is playing out of his mind. Usually you see players after they get their big contract, they kind of take a step back and kind of relax. But Klay has been playing lights out, shooting better from 3-point than Steph Curry right now. I think he's somewhere at 47% from 3, which is that's lights out. And he's playing great defense. Steph Curry's passing the ball. Andrew Bogut's healthy. They have Harrison Barnes starting now, which is just so much better than last year. He has so much upside, and Iguodala should be able to, at this point, figure out how to play off the bench and use his abilities to maybe run some point guard off the bench, kind of run an offense, because he has that ability. I think Harrison Barnes kind of didn't know how to do that. How to come off the bench, because he was never used to doing that, probably coming up through high school and college. He's always the best player on his teams, so I think that was a hard adjustment. But now that you see him starting, he's the Harrison Barnes that we saw in the playoffs against the Spurs 2 years ago. So San Antonio's back after kind of a rough start. I mean, when we say rough for San Antonio, it's about a 500 ball club, but now they're 9-4. Kawhi is looking like Kawhi. I'm going to steal that from ESPN, but it is true. Kawhi's, playing good defense, getting fast break layups, getting those corner threes. The Spurs, that's what got them to the finals last year. Kawhi was just this wild card that no one expected to play at such a high level. Like I said before, what to expect from the big three, but when you have Kawhi out there, being able to play great D, hitting corner threes, hitting his mid range, taking it to the hoop, the Spurs can be unstoppable, as we saw last year. LeBron had a tough time with that Spurs team, which will probably come down to be an all-time great. Our 5th team is Portland. And I'm a big Damian Lillard fan, and I love Portland starting 5. Wes Matthews, a former Jazz player, an undrafted guy out of Marquette. Marcus Aldridge is, he can be in the MVP discussion. Especially what he did in the playoffs last year was really awesome. But they have a great starting 5, but I really thought their bench was going to be their hole and would kind of prevent them from, being a top team as they are right now. They're playing great. Chris Kamen's playing great off. He's playing great off the bench. Rolo's, they needed these big men, and they're doing work for them now. But just going forward, I still think the key is having players like CJ McCollum and just their bench players to really step up and really keep them in this top 5 echelon of teams. Damian Lillard, he had an early shooting slump, but now he's coming into his own and hitting those 3-pointers. I think he has the most 3-point makes out of anybody in the NBA right now, and that's a great stat. And he continues to just kind of impress. He has these great highlight reel layups and ones. Really strong guard. He should be an all-star this year. I look for that. It's tough in the West, but we'll see what happens. So those are your power rankings. We have right outside the bubble, we have teams like Houston, Dallas, and Washington. Those teams look great. Houston doesn't have Dwight lately. Don't know what's going on with Dwight. He's kind of notorious for being either hurt or whining about something. I'm just not a big Dwight fan, so that's what I'm going to say about him. But Houston, they're going to need him. I think they can only go so far without Dwight Howard. He only made it to the first round without Dwight Howard. So if they don't have Dwight Howard for, a large stretch this season, see them to fall a little bit. Dallas, I really like Dallas's offense. Parsons, playing worthy of that big contract he got. Monte, they're really able to reload in free agency, which not a lot of teams can do because you see them sign veterans and not use them correctly, and it turns out to be busts. But Dallas really knows how to do that. Cuban basically has assembled his squad from the title-winning team a few years back when they beat Miami in the Big Three's first year. That was great. And now it looks like they're back. I think he got J.J. Barea from the T-Wolves, and he was kind of buried on their depth chart, and now he comes in there and just throwing alley-oops to Tyson Chandler and what's the big man, Wright. He's throwing those, and it's just like, wow, this is just what happened when they won the whole thing. So look for Dallas to be there. Washington, something I really see from them is Paul Pierce is playing great. They lost Trevor Ariza, which is huge. He's playing great in Houston, but Paul Pierce has this experience. He's playing great right now, hitting threes. He's somebody that can create his own shot. He's been there and won championships. So Paul Pierce, honestly, he's older than Ariza, but if you take all that experience and his clutch factor, I think it potentially can be a plus over Ariza. So this should be interesting. Washington's going to be there. They're going to be top 3, top 4 in the East. Look for them to challenge a team like the Cavs if the Cavs don't get together. So that's what the power rankings look like today. It's like Amari's playing a little bit better for the Knicks. He's been injury plagued throughout his career. It's really unfortunate because in his Phoenix days he was all NBA. He could hit that jump shot. He could, really like Nash and him would run that pick and roll, and it was really something to be feared about. But then he had these microfractures. He had the eye injury, the iris tear, and then New York after he's the 3rd highest player in the NBA, and after he signed this contract, he's just never been the same. He had one good year in New York, and then after that, he was just injury plagued throughout. But it's really nice to see, him getting closer to where he was. I don't think we'll see that old Amari, but it's still some encouraging, some encouraging play from him as of late. So I think that's what we'll do it for today. I'm kind of shorthanded without Sam, but we're gonna be back next week. If you have any suggestions how you want us to do this format, we just love to talk about NBA, and I'm honestly open for anything. Right, today I just went through the ESPN headlines and kind of just went through the main, the big stories going on right now. But we've tried going through the divisions. It's kind of tough just allocating like a couple minutes to each team. And the video will still be about 15 minutes in length, but we're still experimenting. If you have questions, feel free to shoot them into these to the Hangout on our Google Plus. You know, we're also on Facebook, we're on Twitter with the All NBA Hoops handle. So check us out. That's gonna be it for today, guys. You have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.